All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the 31st Jakarta Post Up Close webinar series. My name is Indah Oktavianti. I'm a journalist of the Jakarta Post and I will be the moderator of the event. Through this webinar, we will talk about the rise of the digital banking in Indonesia, an era in which the proliferations of digital channels has prompted banks to focus on being digital first. While it is difficult to see the silver lining stemming from the global pandemic of 2020, the coronavirus did force many businesses and industries to adapt and innovate by developing new business practices or improving current models. The financial industry is a prime example. While banking has shifted towards digital over the past decade, the coronavirus crisis forced this trend to accelerate. Today's webinar might be started with questions on what are strengths and challenges of brick and mortar banks in navigating digital businesses. How will the digital first trend help boost the country's economy in the post-pandemic situation? Most importantly, how to win trust from customers amid this fast and rapid digital transformation. To answer those questions, 5 distinguished speakers will join us in an engaging discussion about this trend shift. So allow me to introduce these 5 speakers of today's webinar. We will commence the session with a 10-minute keynote speech from Bapak Anung Herlianto as the Executive Director of Banking Research and Regulation of the Financial Service Authority, or OJK. With his more than 20 years of experience in the field, Pak Anung is expected to elaborate the government's roadmap or plans on digital banking expansion. Afterwards, Bapak Darmadi Sutanto, as Bank BTPN Deputy President Director, will deliver a 15-minute presentation on Bank BTPN's digital transformation in the past 5 years. Followed by Ibu Tri Hindriasari, as the Accenture Managing Director, who will also deliver her 15-minute presentation on the key growth areas in digital banking transformation, including the importance of human approach in the process. Then Bapak Reynir Fauzan, as the Kata.ai Chief Marketing Officer, will talk about best user experience in mobile banking, as well as data security in his 15 minutes presentation. Last but not least, we will have Bapak Riko Wardhana as Bank Syaria Indonesia Digital Banking Product Head. In his 15-minute presentation, we will talk about Bank BSI merger and its vision on digital banking. We will conduct a 30-minute Q&A session following speakers' post-presentation. So feel free to ask any question you may have throughout the webinar by using the Q&A box. The panelists are also welcome to immediately respond to the question through the Q&A box chat. Although the webinar will be delivered fully in English, please do not hesitate to ask questions in Bahasa Indonesia because we will help to translate the questions into the English. So once again, thank you for participating in our webinar, and you can always support good journalism by subscribing today on the jakartapost.com/packages with only 660,000 rupiah per year or 55,000 rupiah per month. You'll get exclusive contents and premium news in your daily. So without further ado, I will welcome Bapak Anung Herlianto from OJK to deliver a keynote speech on the government's roadmap or plans on digital banking expansion, as well as regulatory changes in the banking industry to support expansion. For the next 10 minutes, the platform is yours, Pak.
Okay, many thanks, Tri, the moderator. So allow me to take probably 10 to 15 minutes, Tri. I deliver this speech and then follow up with the slide. So ladies and gentlemen, all panelists and webinar participants, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon and greetings to all of us. So first of all, I think let us express our gratitude to our God Almighty, since only His blessing and grace could be gathered on this significant and prominent occasion. Despite all the hurdles we are facing in the midst of the pandemic, we are fortunate that we are able to join this webinar organized by the Jakarta Post. So thank you very much, in a good health, we all of us. So let us take this opportunity to express our highest appreciation also to the organizing committee of this webinar. So let me start with the first slide. We are now entering the second year of living with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our lives have significantly been altered by the pandemic, including our economic activities. So the pandemic has changed our lifestyles as illustrated in the following slide. We can see from the data that the value of e-commerce transactions have increased significantly from the pre-pandemic levels and will continue to mark a positive trend ahead. So the COVID-19 pandemic has caused people to shift from physical economic activities to virtual or digital economic activities, fueling the increase in the value of e-commerce transaction. In 2020, the total value of e-commerce transaction in Indonesia was recorded at more than 266 billion rupees, increasing from the previous years significantly. In addition, looking at the data on the use of digital banking service during the COVID-19 pandemic also confirmed a significant increase in the financial activities done through digital media. 81% of digital banking customers top up their e-wallets using digital platforms. Sales through online channels also increased, reaching 280 million sales in 2020. According to Bank Indonesia, digital banking transaction increased significantly. Yeah. The transaction value increased by 14%, and the transaction volume increased by 41.5%. Very significant increase compared to the previous year as of December 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, the acceleration, slide 5, of digital transformations in the banking sector is evident by the emergence of various digital banking service innovations. This includes several banks that have declared themselves as digital banks. The prospect of taking advantage on the growth of the digital economy brings wonderful opportunities for banks to embrace a digital future. Indonesia is known to have great potential in developing its digital economy. We Are Social in January 2021 reported that there were 202 million internet users in Indonesia, or an increase of 27 million from 2020, or about 16%. So internet penetrations in Indonesia reached 73% more in January 2021, with 170 million media users, where the figure increased by 10 million, or about 6.3% from 2020. This is a very potential new customer that expected digital services. So ladies and gentlemen, from the data, we can see that Indonesia has enormous potential in developing its digital economy. Such conditions encourage the banking sector to digitalize its services to adapt to the shifting behavior that exists in our society. This digital acceleration transformation in banking is undoubtedly beneficial for the broader community because it can provide banking service quickly and can be accessed 24 hours a day. The next slide, please. So looking at this data, we can conclude that there are 4 ways that COVID-19 has reshaped consumer behavior in a banking sector. The first one is changing the way people do banking, and then accelerating the decline of using cash, which has occurred for some time, and then emphasizing the importance of responsible banking. And the last one, customers will expect greater flexibility in security in banking services in the future. So in the next slide, we can see that in the future, several emerging technologies will redefine the relationship between bank and customers. I envision the platformifications in a form of super apps as a picture of banking in the future. The industry will see several new technology that will shape the future banking, such as biometric authentications, invisible payments, voice-activated payments, facial recognitions, QR code payments, and artificial intelligence. The future of banking may have fewer banks or declining physical banking services. We notice that more and more there are a massive closure of the bank branches. Banks will become customer-centric and personalize their products and services to follow the changing behavior of their customer and those to meet their customers' demand and expectations. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about our strategy to deal with that kind of development in banking sector ecosystem. So I would like to briefly discuss about what have been done by the OJK to support the development of digital banking. As you might know, at the beginning of this year, OJK issued the 2021-25 Financial Service Sector Master Plan, known as MPSJKI, and the 2020-2025 Indonesian Banking Development Roadmap, RP2I, in the context of accelerating digital banking. In these two documents, OJK emphasizes the importance of digital transformations in financial sector. In supporting the accelerations of banking digital transformations, OJK adopted three important principles, namely, first, encouraging innovation in banking by preparing a legal basis that support regulatory framework reforms, changing the setting of to principle-based approach, accelerating product service licensing and information technology-based supervisions. The second one, keeping banking safe and sound. And the third one, maintaining public trust in digital banking services by preparing particular digital transformation policies to customer data protections and technology management, as well as risk management. And in the next slide, as previously mentioned, OJK issued 2020-25 Indonesian Banking Development Roadmap atau RP2I ya, sering kita kenal. This roadmap outlines the banking sector development strategies comprehensively. This roadmap is a foothold in developing the banking industry ecosystem and regulatory, supervisory, and licensing infrastructure in the future. We hope this will create a resilient, competitive, and contributive national banking system. Those roadmap contains short-term policy directions and structural policy direction. In the direction of structural development, OJK has four strategic directions. First, strengthening the structure and competitive advantage of the national banking system. The second, accelerations of digital transformations. The third, strengthening the role of banking in the national economy. And finally, strengthening licensing, regulations, and monitoring. So the last one is a kind of reforming and the way we do the licensing that more conducive for the industry to do the innovation. So in the next slide, we also can see that in the development of digital banking, OJK issued several regulations regarding the digital banking services. Yeah, this is the infrastructure regulations infrastructure that enable the banking industry to be more flexible into the innovations without regarding the regardless the prudential principle. Okay, in the next slide, thanks. OJK's commitment to accelerate banking digitalizations outlined in the second pillar RP2I, namely the acceleration of digital transformations. I would like to point out this because this is very relevant in this webinar. So along with the development of technology and the digital economy, as stated earlier, banks need to accelerate the digitalizations of their product and services to meet public expectations. For these reasons, it is necessary for banks to strengthen their governance and risk management of information technology. Work programs in this regard are, among others, development of cyber incident response and recovery, CIRR, framework, and revising the provisions of governance and risk management of information technology to follow digital developments. In addition to work program in RP2I, A short-term plan will carry in 2021. The 2021 banking policy plan will strengthen banking business processes that support industrial and technological development trend and update prudential provision that refer to international standards that are best fit to Indonesian context. So we do the national discretion in this case. Some of the policy include a draft OJK regulation on commercial banks that probably in the very short term, in the next 2 weeks or by the end of this month, we will issue that, which will regulate related policies to digital banking. A draft OJK regulations for the operations of commercial banking products, which will classify banks product into primary banks products and advanced bank product, as well as classifying licensing process of banking products into products that can be offered without permit or with a permit. This regulation will also include an instant approval mechanism for approving banking products. So there should be a speed up in terms of licensing of how the bank do the banking product and services. The banking digital transformation blueprint, this is also very important, is also in the pipeline and will provide a balanced framework that encourage innovations in the banking sector while maintaining prudent banking principles. The banking digital transformation blueprint is a more detailed description accelerations of digital transformation, which is second pillar of 2020-25 Indonesian banking development roadmap. The blueprint consists of 5 building blocks, which are data, technology, risk management, collaborations, and institutional arrangements. The banking digital transformation blueprint will provide a more concrete directions for the digitalizations of banking in the future to accelerate digital transformations. So the next slide, please. So as previously stated, massive changes in the external ecosystem resulting from the pandemic require international reform and regulations, supervisions, and licensing. So this is what we call as regulatory triangle or regulatory framework. So regulations would be on a principle-based pattern, so moving slightly from the rule-based, so adaptive to changes in the banking landscape and ecosystem, as well as forward-looking. Reforms to the licensing process will happen, which aim to increase the licensing process speed, accuracy, and transparency. So we try to provide the environment which is very conducive to the bank to do the innovations. So in terms of supervisions, changes in external ecosystem require a fundamental change from the conventional supervision concept currently applied. First, the regulations arrangement focus on a principle base that provides space for spurring innovations within the industry without compromising the prudential aspect. Rule-based regulation will quickly become an obsolete concept as it tends to limit the space for industry and supervisor to apply professional judgment and flexibility in exercising supervisory actions. The next slide. In terms of supervisions, changes in the external ecosystem require a fundamental change from the conventional supervision concept currently applied. Transformation in people's mindset, digitizing business process, and supporting technology-based supervision infrastructure is urgent to keep pace with external developments. So in the future, technology-based supervision must detect early potential supervisory digital problems in the financial services sector, accompanied by timely and appropriate supervisory actions. For this reason, by carrying out the concept of supervisory for tomorrow, the use of big data analytics and artificial intelligence will be more dominant in the implementations of individual surveillance, risk profiling, and supervisory actions against individual banks that changing from the conventional services into the digitalized one.
Anung, I'm afraid I have to remind you that you have 1 minute.
This would be the last slide. 3. Okay, so In a slide 17, the last one, I think OJK will encourage the industry to increase their competitiveness by accelerating digital transformation in the future. So we believe that collaboration with the industry in formulating policies while strengthening risk management aspect will make banks more flexible and innovating. Of course, digital transformation needs to be supported by strong level of capitalization in order to continue applying the latest technology. So that conclude my remarks and presentation 3. So once again, stay safe, stay healthy. May the God Almighty, God bless every good intention we plan. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Tri.
Thank you very much, Pak Anung. That's very wonderful keynote speech from you. And the things that I need to underline is just like OJK really push for the bank to accelerate digitalizations in order to meet the expectations of people living in the digital era. So this is going to be, this is going to be a big job for Indonesia, and OJK is with the very detailed roadmap that has been delivered by Pak Anung. Is going to support it. Thank you very much, Pak Anung. And because Pak Anung unfortunately cannot stay with us until the end of this webinar, so I would like to invite all of the speakers joining this webinar to smile at the camera, because we're going to take a picture. So I would like to count until 3. So please turn on your camera and say cheese. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's a very nice picture, everyone. Thank you very much, Pak Anung, for joining us and your wonderful keynote speech. That's really fantastic.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Pak. And then
Pak Riko, siapa lagi tadi? Okay. Thank you very much and good luck.
Stay healthy and stay safe, Pak. And then we're going to move to the next speaker, Bapak Darmadi from Bank BTPN. He is a Deputy President Director who will deliver the bank's experience in increasing digital transactions, revenues, growth of mobile and digital banking customers during this pandemic situation. So for the next 15 minutes, the platform is yours, Pak Darmadi.
Terima kasih, Mbak Tri. So hold on, let me share the screen. Okay, so thank you for the opportunity from Jakarta Post to invite us sharing what we have in the past 5 years in the digital banking. So as you may have known that we have a product called Genius. This is actually the core digital banking that we have in the bank. So today I would share a bit what is the journey of Genius in the past 5 years until now. Next. So Genius is intended to be the life finance solution tool for our client. So we focus on what is meaningful in life and believe that finance comes as a consequences. So from the very beginning of the day until the end, certainly Genius will be a kind of the relationship tools for our clients to be able to do both banking transactions or live transactions. So we do have a feature in Genius to open deposit. Today, opening up deposit sometimes is still a hassle, but in Genius you can just opening up in minutes. In less than a minute, actually, both for a new deposit or terminate the old one. And certainly for transaction for the commercials like e-commerce or merchants, we provide with Genius QR. And we also give some options of Flexi Saver. We call it, this is the high yield Flexi savings account. So we just launched that our client can open even multiple accounts on this high yield one. And certainly when we go abroad or we need some foreign currency, it's also going to be easy and very transparent because the rate is very competitive and transparent and it's really timely. So this is the rate that's really happening at that particular time when we would like to transact. And certainly e-wallet top up are part of these capabilities in the Genius. So we bring a value proposition centered around simpler, smarter, safer, simpler banking, smarter decision, and safer transactions. So this is what Genius try to become for our clients. So, and we give both not only the application but also the cards. And because at the end, transactions in merchants, especially if we go abroad, are still very much using credit card. So we still need to provide card as the mechanism to transact. And for this card, we are in cooperation with Visa, so we can have access to contactless payment in all over the world. That will also make Genius becoming more and more user friendly for our clients. So we do have also physical touch points. Now even Genius can be transacted or serviced through all BTPN's branches. So actually a client have the flexibility to go to the branch if needed. And Genius in the past 2 years, we started to penetrate more to a kind of higher market. We call it millennials, senior millennials, which of course sometimes need branches to meet with our RMs, our operation officers there. So now Genius it can be served in all of our branches all over Indonesia. So this provides also flexibility for our client, not only through smartphones, but also through branches when needed. So 4 pillars of our growth is scalability, innovation, ecosystem, and sustainability. These are, I think, very important. Looking at digital banking, not only talking about innovation or sometimes ecosystem, but I think scalability is very enough. So the ability of Genius to continue grow is very important. Yeah, I think in the past 5 years, Genius now has being used already by more than 2.5 million users. Of course, this is a different scale than 2-3 years ago. So the capability for Genius to cope with this potential growth are very important. So these are going to be always our pillar. And sustainability, this is something that I think all digital businesses are now struggling with. Sustainability, talking about perhaps what I call profitability, a self-funded continuity of business potential. These are I think challenges from for digital proposition in the meantime. So Genius is built to finally become sustainable by itself. So these are the pillar of growth that we have for Genius. With the video call KYC, this make Genius penetratable in every single city in Indonesia, basically. So now everyone all over Indonesia can just apply Genius easily. In 5-10 minutes, they can activate the account and starting to use Genius. What have we done in the last 4 years? So from the very beginning, back in August 2016, when we first launched Genius, we provide, of course, some of those already had Genius will be very much familiar with all these Dream Saver and Card Center, Split Bill, Send It, Pay Me. So now we are moving, and 2017 we provide the KYC on demand Genius Pay, starting to also being introduced in 2017, and move on to 2018. And even 2019, we started to offer Genius as a payroll in companies, and we have actually we have able to now quite many companies who have payroll with Genius, because this is not only good for the company but also good for the staff, the employees. And foreign currency, we introduced that. This is something that I just spoke about, is a flexibility to have a very competitive exchange rate. So if anybody would like to buy US dollar, we have 8 currencies: US dollar, euro, yen, Chinese yuan, Aussie. You can just open up Ingenious, and the beauty of having Ingenious that is perhaps differentiating us from other bank, we may have we may buy or sell in a very minimum amount. Even $10 we can do that. Even basically even $1 we can do that. So this is something with the same rate. Yeah, perhaps in a regular banking transaction, you will get a better rate only if you buy and sell in a quite minimum amount of money. But Ingenious, you can buy and sell anytime you wish, and as much as you want, with the limitation of 25,000 per month as what mandated by regulator. So this is also our key feature, differentiating feature in Ingenious for foreign currency. Yeah. FlexiCash has been introduced also in 2019. Basically, this is a personal loan scheme in Ingenious. So our Ingenious client can apply and get approved in minutes if they need some loan, personal loan, something like that. So and Ingenious keyboard is basically the Ingenious keyboard, like if we do WhatsApp, so we don't need to go to Ingenious application. We can just open up Ingenious through the keyboard and WhatsApp. So these are featured in 2019. In 2020, during the pandemic, we came up also with some new feature addressing the issue of pandemic. One of which is monetary. This is, I think, is very good. Ingenious has the capability to identify your spendings, expenses, or your incomes. So by identifying what we spend every single day, so at the end of the month, we can easily see the monetary, the story of our money in and out. So make us very easy to manage our expenses. It's very easy to also to understand our income during the month. Yeah. So we do also introduce the BNI Tap Cash direct top up through Ingenious in 2020. So this is one of few that we are doing during the pandemic. And of course, during 2020, we talk about new normal. And what we have done in Ingenious during 2020, basically first, help customer manage finance better. I just tell the story of money story. And also we provide multi-flexi saver. This is also coming from some feedback of our clients to be able to have a few different savings account to manage different purposes. So we come up with a multi-flexi saver where clients can open up a more savings account with higher interest. So they can allocate different purposes in different savings accounts. And also during pandemic, of course, a lot of people start and grow their business in the midst of pandemic. So we provide an additional capability, what we call Ingenious for Business. Yeah, so Ingenious for Business basically is another business account embedded in the current application. So a client can have a separate account for business. So it's not mixed with the personal use. So these are the new capabilities, also addressing requests from clients during the pandemic when they start having small businesses. The third one, of course, making the transaction much easier, much healthier also, because with the Ingenious QR, with Ingenious Pay, we don't need to even give our cards to our cashier, to anybody. So we can just use more with our own capability in the smartphone. So we came up with Ingenious QR. It's already been implemented. Ingenious Pay also, and BNI that I just also spoke about. Yeah, this is just the same thing. So let me move forward. Yeah. And we have been in cooperation with many e-commerce, many online and offline merchants like here. So this is one of our pillar to be participating in as many ecosystem as possible, not only online merchants, but also offline, not only domestic, but also international. So that is what we wish to become for Genius. Yeah. This is again explaining the importance of Genius to have the capability to become to link with external, online, offline, international, domestic, and even internal. What I mean with internal, Genius slowly but sure will become the platform for our retail business in BTPN. So Sinaya, our wealth management business, has already been using Genius, and very soon, hopefully, home financing. And actually now has started is our micro business, also using Genius as the platform for the business. So moving forward, we will add more of our internal business to be put in Genius. This is just it's already been 13 minutes, so I need to move fast. This is the users, the growth of our users in the past 5 years is quite nicely. Now we have reached around 2.6. As of yesterday, is 2.6 more million users of Genius now. And if you're talking about the growth of the portfolio, it's also quite significant. Even in 2020, we grew more than 100%, more than double. And as of Q1, we already grew 8% in terms of portfolio, the funding, and also the loan base. Yeah. And if you see this, is quite interesting, but it's quite logical also. During the pandemic, the number of transactions per month has significantly been growing. From 2019 to 2020 is double. Now become 14 million transactions per month. And in the first quarter of this year, it's already further growing, 17 million transactions per month. So this we can see that the usage of this Genius, and I believe also digital capabilities in other banks has been growing and has been more accepted by the market. Yeah. And if you're talking about the volume overall in 2020, total is around 14 trillion a month being transacted through Genius. It is in and out. Yeah, the blue column is the incoming, and the green one is the outgoing. So total is around almost 14 trillion, and the first quarter is quite similar. So this is the volume every month that our client has used with Genius. I just would like to highlight, I give me another 1 minute or two, and this is very important, is the rise of digital banking also followed by the rise of frauds. Yeah. And the risk is also growing. So I can speak about two fraud classification. First is the mule account, and second is the social engineering. This has happened even more aggressively during pandemic. Yeah, during pandemic. So this is something that I think not only Genius or BTPN, but it is an issue of industry. We need to fight against fraud, because more and more also fraudster see this as an opportunity to make money, to make a crime for of course a big money. So for instance, social engineering, we need to have to educate market even more, because somehow, some way, this is nothing to do with the system. This is nothing to do with the capability of the security of Genius, but it is more the carelessness of customer, because when somebody called telling them that they are from Genius and asking the CVV, asking the validity of the card, asking even the password and the one-time PIN, all those security are given to the one who calls, which is the fraudster. And of course, if everything is being given, then the account can be accessed and the money being transferred out. So these are what we see in the past year, in the past 1 year, and we need to continue educating the users to be careful with anybody claiming from the bank or from the finance company, perhaps. Yeah. So the data, especially the security data, needs to be carefully. I can say, need not to be given to anybody. Yeah. So this is the one that we do in the past months. Yeah, educate. Even we put in the advertising about educating this to the market. Yeah.
Alright.
And yeah, this is I just spoke about that. Surprisingly, clients sometimes we are just surprised internally that something very personal is being given away. But of course, this is the homework for the industry to educate the customers about the importance to protect their personal data. So I think that is gonna conclude my presentation. Oh, sorry, I still have one last slide.
Okay.
So I think this is challenges and opportunities. I don't want to go one by one, but I think some of them has already been addressed by Pak Anung. Yeah, about the basically the banks are seen as complicated and rigid. So I think the new forward licensing and instant approval of product will really help banks to be more agile, more adaptive, and more speed to market when they come up with new product or services. So I think some challenges will hopefully soon not there anymore because of the new regulations. So that's all I think, Ibu Tri.
Yeah.
My conclusion. Sorry, I took almost 19 minutes. Sorry. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Darmadi. So if I may conclude from Pak Darmadi's presentation, just being digital is not enough. But user-centered experience is something that Bank BTPN is always going for. And we've seen how Genius, as the Bank BTPN's digital banking innovation, has developed constantly in the past 5 years with with Genius for Business and Monitory and so forth, all the products that we've seen on his presentation. And don't forget that data protection is very important. That's a very important issue that we need to raise up during this discussions. So thank you very much, Pak Darmadi. The next speaker is Ibu Tri Hindriasari, the Accenture Managing Director, who will talk about the consumers' behavioral changes after COVID-19, trend of digital channels amid rise of banking activities, and further about banking as service. So the next 15 minutes, the time is yours, Ibu Tri.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Tri. Let me share my slide. Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Bapak dan Ibu. Thank you for having us today for this webinar by Jakarta Post. This is really the exciting opportunity for us to share our 2020 Accenture Global Banking Consumer Study, in which the report already released by end of 2020 on making digital banking more human. Okay. So now, because of the pandemic, the shifting of our customer behavior to move to using digital channel is faster than predicted. The question now is really whether the engagement that we have with clients, it can be the same with what we have before. Whether the personal and emotional connection that we have with our customer can remain, and then in the end, how we can have more human approach that can help banks to retain loyalty and trust from the client. Our research is actually involving around 47,000 customers in 28 markets. This survey is actually focusing on the shift of customer behavior and preferences during pandemic, focusing not only which habits have changed because of pandemic, but also which one will likely sustain as the world will gradually back to normal. During the survey, we used the same methodology developed for our 2019 report where our survey customer divided into 4 personas, as we believe that while consumer banking's demand vary by age, by gender, where they live, how much they earn, however, their preferences are driven to a greater extent by personality. So here we have 4 groups. The first one is pragmatic. This one is the one that is trust and see technology as a means to serve their purpose. Number 2 is traditionalist, where they value human touch and avoid technology. Number 3 is pioneers. This is risk takers, tech savvy, who love innovation. The fourth one is those that is skeptics, which is the one that is least trusting group and generally not satisfied with their financial service provider. And what I share now is the 28 markets that I have mentioned before, which included in our survey, where different countries seem to have different dominance. In fast-growing markets such as Brazil, China mainland, and Mexico, pioneers are the largest group. In contrast, skeptics are the largest persona group in many European countries. Canada and Germany are the only markets where traditionalists are the largest group. While Indonesia was not the part of these 28 markets under our research, however, we should still be able to get the insight as we believe with the same persona, our customers should have similar preference, which we need to respond to. And we would like to highlight also that there is a shift on a persona compared with our research in 2018 as a result of different option or rather no option that people can have in this situation right now. We can see here the shift of a pragmatist. We have like 2% lower than before. Traditionalist is now 8% lower than before. This one is as mentioned before because basically they don't have option. So most of them now shifted into either pioneers or skeptics. So this shift of persona is something that we need to understand in banking because the size of a group changes over time and how preferences differ between groups will determine how we should strategize our banking going forward. Based on this survey, in this discussion now, we will share 5 key trends. These 5 key we will define and we also will share what is the number for each item that's supporting these 5 trends. Let's just continue on the first trend that we have, the rise of digitization. So lockdown around the world actually drive our customer to interact digitally with their bank. The third is partly because customers did not feel comfortable about visiting their branches during lockdown or simply have no choice. Hence, they need to have digital engagement with their bank. In our survey, it is shown that 50% of customers currently interact with their bank through a mobile application or website at least once a week compared with just 32% 2 years ago. We also see acceleration of movement from cash to contactless payment, at least in Europe. In UK specifically, for example, ATM withdrawal dropped by 50% in contrast to 55% increase of usage on contactless payment. We note also that actually 9 out of 10 customers expecting higher level of contactless usage after pandemic. So now the question is whether this trend will remain the same when the world back to normal. We expect those who are conducting simple and low value transaction digitally for the first time to continue to do so, while others will revert for branches for more complex and higher value advice and transaction. However, the survey reveals different things. What we can see now in the slide is that when we give the customer opportunity to select up to 3 options on how they will prefer their new account being done going forward, which of course, this one is a complex transaction. Historically, their preference will be to do it in branch, but now 47% prefer face-to-face still, However, the same number, which is another 47%, prefer to do it online via laptop or desktop, while another 37% want to do it via application or web. The only reason why they prefer to have laptop over web is because the complexity of account opening process that they need to go through. However, online will still be their preference. So now, previously we mentioned about how to make the banking more human, right? So we also find that actually video call grows in popularity with the reason that our customer want to have a human touch on the process. So when we ask how they engage with their bank advisor before COVID, the response is only 15% had spoken to their bank advisor. 46% plan to do so once branch reopen, and 35% prefer video than face-to-face meeting. So we can see that with the acceleration of digital adoption, we see that the risk of banking more price-driven, since price will be the obvious differences across different providers. So response to this, bank will need to differentiate themselves to inject humanity, or sometimes having the human themselves into digital customer journey wherever it is appropriate, and create distinctive experience so that they can have their own digital brand. The next trend that we can see is the power of personalization. What we share now in the numbers here is how customer actually value the money, which we can see when we ask our customer what is the most important item when dealing with their bank and insurer. They rank value for money in the first place. Compared with 2 years ago, when we did the same survey, value for money was only number 5. And although we can see also primary bank account switching activity is now low, those who have switched in the past 12 months, when we ask what is the reason for them to switch their primary account, the reason is because of the pricing. And those who are not switching yet their account, they mentioned that factor that might cause them to do so in the next 12 months is also pricing. So now we have that question, how we can differentiate ourselves. Personalization was always be the idea to get our customer more engaged. However, apparently, the abstract concept of personalized experience, only 13% of our survey respondents said that it is important to them, which this number is slightly lower than 2 years ago. However, like what I presented now, when we tell customer on the concrete sample of personalization services, especially those that is enable money saving and enhance their finance management, they reveal a greater interest than 2 years ago. So what you can see here, they are interested to have these services about 57% compared with 65% now in 2020. And the one that is mostly interested on this is actually pioneers. Most of them interested into saving tips based on a spending pattern. So based on this survey that we have, we believe that customer sentiment on price is likely to be less permanent compared with the other shift that we can see right now. However, banks should not wait for the time when customer becoming less sensitive on price. Banks should show that they can look after their long-term financial well-being based on the data that they have. The next one that we want to share is trend number 3 on the maintaining support beyond crisis. Customers generally are satisfied with the support that they already got during COVID-19. 50% said that their bank provided them with the support they needed during pandemic, and 49% said it is communicated clearly and effectively. But this is likely not because they have a benefit on the support that bank provides, but this percentage likely to be because they feel reassured that a bank will be there, the help will be there once they need it. Because when we have another survey, apparently less than 15% of customers use direct financial assistance from their bank, such as credit card limit increase or interest-free credit card repayment holiday. And just 28% use any form of assistance. While they have this support, we need to remember in a bank that 60% of our customers want to have similar support to continue in the long term. Meaning there is a possibility that bank going forward will have a difficulty to continue offering assistance on the use of the support that they have, direct support that they have. For this, bank might still able to support assistance in different way that is more less costly, which is for the bank to continue giving the assistance and financial services or financial advice where possible using their efficient digital channel. The next one is the trend number 4, customer trust in a time of uncertainty. What we can see based on the survey is that just 29% of our customers in the survey trust their bank a lot to look after their long-term financial well-being, compared with 43% 2 years ago. So if we can see here, the number dropped quite a lot. The only positive news that we can have on this as a bank is that even though we have a bigger slump in trust, there are still trust bank more than other major institutions. So this is the only good news that we have in a bank. Then when we ask about data, customers are also starting to lose faith in their bank's ability to look after their data. Our survey showed that only 37% trust their bank a lot to look after their data today, compared with 51% in 2018. This could be a result of two things. The first one is high-profile data breach in the past 2 years that customers also see. Secondly, tightening of data protection by regulators. Both of these also raise customer awareness of data privacy issues. For this trend, banks should respond by providing service which genuinely focus on looking after customer long-term financial well-being. Trend number 4, the shift in how customers switch. So now if we can see on this chart that we have right now, neobank still continue to gain market share. By 2020, 23% of our consumers had a neobank account, while 2 years ago, they have 17%. And based on this market share, 12% of them actually using this neobank account to their transaction. So what we can see now is that this 8% of customers actually trust this neobank to look after their long-term financial well-being. However, 29% feel the same way about their current bank. So when we look at this number right now, right, the progress of neobank is actually not as much. 3.8% of customers have switched their primary account in the past year, compared with 6.7% who did this 2 years ago.
Ibu Tri, I'm afraid we only
So
have 1
now
minute.
Yes, then wrap up. So the next question that we have is really, will consumer interest in neobank reignite after economic picture improve? Yes, the question, the answer will be they might have that Once their concern on instability prove unfounded, neobank features such as cheap currency exchange will become more attractive if customers are able to travel more in the future. For this, bank will need to respond by remaining competitive and providing convenience and functionality provided by neobank. So the next one is actually the wrap up of what I have mentioned before. We need to also remember these 5 principles for us to be able to have digitization. Well, also we still remember to have our banking to be more human. Number 1 is we need to understand what is the customer behavior that is shifted, what is their preference, and understand also whether it is temporary or permanent. Number 2, we need to also understand the needs and expectation of specific segment of your customer base, and need to remember there is a possibility that the persona of your customer base is shifted after this pandemic. Number 3 is need to determine how your strategy and operating model need to be changed to respond to this change of preference. Number 4 is prioritize technology flexibility and agility to be able to release new digital offering at speed. Number 4 is to inject humanity and personalization into digital channel. This one cannot be abstract anymore. We need to have something that is concrete to be given to our customer. So I think that is what I can share today. There are lots of data that we can share. And so please contact us to learn more about this research and how Accenture can help your organization to remain human, trusted, and relevant as the world continues to change at the pace that we never imagined before. Thank you, Tri. I give it back to you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Tri, who shared the same like me. So it's hard to say whether or not banking digital transformation is part of the silver lining of the global pandemic 2020, just like what I said. But the increase of digital use is also questionable. Is the engagements going to be last even in the post-pandemic situation, just like what Ibu Tri has been questioned. So it is very important for banks to have the human approach and the personalized experience, as it would keep the customer's trust, and it would probably will make this digital transformation would last longer than we expected. Thank you very much, Ibu Tri Hindriasari. The next speaker is going to be the Kata.ai Chief Marketing Officer, Bapak Reynir Fauzan, who will talk about the conversational artificial intelligence as well as key points in boosting the best user experience in the digital transformation process. So in the next 15 minutes, the platform is yours, Pak.
Okay, thank you so much, Mbak Tri. Let me share my screen here. Okay, is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Right, thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Reynir Fauzan. I'm the co-founder and the Chief Marketing Officer of Kata.ai. First of all, I would like to thank Jakpost for the opportunity, as well as the esteemed speakers who are here today. It's really an honor for me to share the stage with everyone here. Today, I would like to talk about how conversational AI can help banks to further transform their digital banking initiatives. So let's start. So I'm going to start with a quote here from Mark Zuckerberg at the 2016 F8 Developer Conference. He said that we think you should message a business just the way you would message a friend. And this quote still remains very, very relevant until today, as we're growing in the conversational AI for the bank industry. So if we see the market trends in the financial services, the data from McKinsey say that the neobanks or fintech companies are basically starting to address and catch up to the quickly changing wants and needs of the consumers. But although banks, the incumbent banks face intense pressure, I think they still have an edge in resources and also maybe the agility. If they can have the agility of a startup, definitely banks should excel all the multiple fronts and beat the neobanks and the fintech companies. And in the recent situation, I think everyone's aware that COVID is not only hitting on the financial services industry, but also other industries. But PwC recently published a research paper regarding how retail banks should cope with the COVID-19 pandemic. And these are the 3 key points from the full-length article. The first one is banks needs to maintain the SLA and control as consumer activity increases. The second one, banks might transfer future visits to a virtual call center or digital channels. And the third one, this is quite interesting for us because banks need to take the advantage of chatbot capabilities, which currently have steadily grown more sophisticated and also easier to deploy. And in recent years, Indonesia also experienced significant growth in smartphone penetration and bankable population. I think we also see it in the first keynote from OJK that right now the Indonesian bankable population is definitely increasing. And if we zoom in, we see from 2011 to 2017, we had double-digit growth of 16% of the compounded annual growth rate over the last few years. So, of course, the opportunity is still wide open for Indonesian banks if we compare to other ASEAN. Even the Singaporean, they're quite stuck in their current banking population. And we can also see that the credit offering still dominates the Indonesian consumer loan demand with 53%. And the group of debtor mostly will come from the micro SME, from communal business credit or KUR, and also the non-KUR one. Interestingly, Indonesian banking customers are also among the emerging Asia most enthusiastic adopters of digital banking. If we can see here, this is the data from McKinsey. The share of non-digital respondents will likely to use the digital banking in the next 6 months is 56%. So compared to other countries, we're quite high. Like half of the respondents are willing to actually adopt a digital banking experience from the non-digital experience. So this is quite, I think, receptive and also revealing for us that we definitely need to go into a more digital approach in the future. So at the same time, there is also an interesting opportunity where Indonesian market can be tapped through the messaging apps. Indonesia is a WhatsApp first country, and I believe everyone here have WhatsApp and use it for a daily messaging channel. Because the data from We Are Social state that 83% of internet users in Indonesia, we all use WhatsApp as the main messaging channel. And according to the Indonesian social behavior, we spend like 43% of average daily leisure time just to check our phones. So it's around like 3.5 hours a day, or maybe even more if you're in the big cities. And this also coincides with the fact that shopping via chat platform is a common and natural Indonesian consumer behavior. So imagine before e-commerce, we all buy things from Cascos. We visit the shop, we browse the products, we order via WhatsApp, for example, ask for the payment confirmation and ship the track order. Everything is done basically through conversations. So that's why Kata.ai here, we have a mission to leverage the conversations, not only for the peer-to-peer communication, but also for commercial activities and banking. We can also see that expectation of the business have changed. So more than 61% of people would choose messaging over picking up the phone. And of course, around the same number, 59% of people would choose messaging over sending an email. So right now, everything, it's clearly moving towards like a social media or a chatting customer service experience rather than email or taking a phone number. And we also see a market trend growing in the conversational AI, because from a research paper by Servion, they state that by 2025, AI will power 95% of customer interactions, including the live telephone and online conversations. But if we want to see how the conversational AI platform like Kata.ai can help businesses to transform their digital initiatives, so we can see it according to the level of sophistication. So there are two types here. It's called a chatbot and also a virtual assistant. And if you're wondering what's the difference between those two, let's compare them based on their complexity profile. So the low complexity has a low effort. So usually you tell the bot what to do for you. Like, I want to check my balance. I want to get the promotions and so forth, right? And the second one is the focus and also transactional. It's in the middle of chatbot and a virtual assistant, and it handling more and more complex situation. Like, you tell the bot what info you need to know or want. Like, for example, if you want to know what kind of banking products that suits you, like your spending, your profile, your interests, and so forth. And the last one is the one that is very complex and contextual. And this is like where the bot anticipates what you need and want. So for example, the bot will send you a text message like, "Hi, and I see that you make a transfer to your mom regularly. Would you like me to repeat the transaction once a month every first week?" So that will be the complex and contextual, where the bot anticipates what you need and want. And definitely the effort in each stages here is vary. The low complexity with the low effort, and if we're going to the sophistication continuum here, the complex one will take a massive effort with the skills of teams of specialists. So that's why we're coming to play here to help the banks. So we can also see that the potential of the current artificial intelligence technology can improve the productivity of workforces in ASEAN countries. Here, we can see that the activities of the work activities of the workforces in ASEAN currently generate more than $900 billion in wages. So imagine that we can automate 50% of the work activities, make it more seamless, and make it more automated using AI, rather than rely on human, where human will get the human errors. So here, the human will take on the more high-touch business use cases, like handling complaints, because honestly, no one wants to talk to a bot if you're angry or if you want to complain about something. You want to talk to a human, right? So a human is there to handle that kind of inquiries. But for the frequent inquiries, the FAQs, the repetitive ones, can be handled by automations like chatbot, for example. And these are the key elements for the companies to start adopting AI in their business process. The first one is to have a clearly defined use cases or sources of value. The second one, to have a robust data ecosystem and system readiness, because usually if you want to deploy AI in your company, you still need to have some of the ecosystem ready, right, to make it work. If you don't have the ecosystem ready and you want the AI to do the job for you, yeah, that will be tough. And the third one, of course, the workforce, the team that is adept at using the system and tools. The fourth is about the framework and also workflow, a clear integration between the core business. And the last one is about iteration, an open culture that embraces the test and learn approach. So introducing Kata, we are here since 2015. We've been helping the 100 brands and partners to optimize the customer engagement. We're also partnering with Accenture for Telkomsel, for example. So these are our some of our bots in the clients. It's really serving a lot of industries, not only banking, but also telco, retail, and also FMCG. And in fact, in Telkomsel, the chatbot is able to handle 80% of customer service inquiries And right now, it's not only acting as a cost center, but it also generates revenue of more than $1 million of pulsa and packet data kind of transactions. So for the past 6 years, Kata has been leveraging conversational AI to pave the path for the businesses towards the intelligent enterprise. With the more than 1 billion conversations processed, and also more than 100 plus paid enterprise and SME customers in Indonesia have been helped using our platform to leverage conversational AI for their businesses. And not only that, we also just recently appointed as the official steerco of Indonesian National AI Security. So not only we're helping businesses here, but we also have helping the Indonesia's AI roadmap until I think 2030 or something. So let's go to the technology and the banking use cases under the hood. So for Kata Flow, this allows you to design the conversation with the bot studio. And with the Kata.NL, it's the real machine learning inside an easy to use interface. It used to train your NLP with small data sets. This is also available in on-premises, of course, for banks. Usually the concern is how this technology can be implemented in the premises due to security reasons. Then it's something that we can do for the banks. This is how natural language understanding works, basically. It's processing the unstructured messages that's come via the messaging platform. So for example, here, selamat siang, saya ingin buka tabungan deposito senilai 100 juta. First, we will annotate the transcript. And then after that, we recognize the intent. The intent here is to open account. And then we extract the entity inside the unstructured messages. So we know that, okay, they want to open account, what's the product type, what's the amount, and what's the currency. And same goes for blocking your card. Halo, bisa blokir kartu debit untuk sementara, kartu tertelan di ATM pas ngambil cash. And we can also get like whether the language is casual or formal. It depends again on the client's needs. If they want to really define the customer profiling between their customer base. And these are some of our banking use cases. The first one's to handle financial transactions, to have a product and service guidance. For example, I want to open a saving account. Which one has the highest interest rate? And then, of course, this is quite, I think it's quite popular for customer self-service channel. I think naturally, when people think about chatbot, oh, this is good for our customer service self-service channel. But there's actually more use cases that can be unlocked, for example, for the commercial and also revenue generating use case. And also to have like a personalized customer insights. Like, for example, if you know your customer that, oh, this customer will react to a food promotion, then we can also give like the push notification message. Oh, you should take this promotion because this suits for you. And last but not least, we can also do push outbound messages. It can also be as an authentication method, such as like one-time password. And I think before I conclude my session, I'm going to share a little demo of our current development. I'm gonna call my voice bot here.
Halo, saya adalah virtual assistant Anda dari Bank ABC. Ada yang bisa kami bantu?
Halo, kartu saya hilang.
Sebelumnya dengan siapa saya bicara?
Nama saya Reynir.
Apakah benar nama Anda Reynir?
Ya, benar.
Baik, selanjutnya tolong dijelaskan kronologi yang Anda alami.
Jadi dompet saya hilang sama seisinya. Boleh tolong diblokir nggak kartunya?
Mohon maaf atas ketidaknyamanannya dalam bertransaksi. Kami akan bantu proses pemblokiran. Kami informasikan pemblokiran ini bersifat permanen untuk semua channel. Pertama, tolong sebutkan nomor rekening Anda.
12345678. Tidak ada mutasawat.
Kartu ATM Anda sudah berhasil kami blokir pada tanggal.
Yep. So that's one of our earliest development for the voice bot. So not only for chat, right now we are currently want to automate the IVRs using the speech to text and also text to speech technology. So I think my time is up. I think I can give back the stage to Trey again. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Pak Ray. That's really cool and awesome. The bot is really like understand what we say and really do whatever we order them to do. So that's really emphasize the needs of artificial intelligence technology to improve the user-centered experience as well as the productivity of the workforce, just like what Pak Reyes already mentioned earlier. And Kata.ai is really there to boost this the AI development in Indonesia. Thank you very much, Pak Rey, for the very wonderful presentations. Last but not least, Pak Riko Wardhana, Bank Syariah Indonesia Digital Banking Product Head. He will speak about the recent Bank Syariah merger and the key areas that will become the focus of Bank BSI's digital business in its first years. So, Pak Riko, the platform is yours, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Bu Tri. Thank you for the other speakers. Very great thoughts ya. From Bu Tri, Pak Reynir, tadi Pak dari OJK juga, terus kemudian tadi Pak Darmadi ya dari from the BTPN. So now let me take this opportunity to share a little bit about the Bank Syariah Indonesia, which is, as we know, that this is something new from the industry banking Indonesia, that we have now even bigger Syariah Bank Indonesia. So please start for the next. Okay. Yes, let me make a quick introduction about Bank Syariah Indonesia. So Bank Syariah Indonesia was established through the merger of the three major state-owned Syariah banks, Bank Syariah Mandiri, BNI Syariah, and BRI Syariah. The surviving entity of the union was publicly listed as a bank BRI Syariah, with Bank Mandiri as the largest shareholder in the new bank, holding around like 51% of shares. And the new bank combined has about 234 trillion in rupiah in assets and core capital around 22.6 trillion. And Alhamdulillah, the bank has become the seventh biggest lender in Indonesia in terms of assets and expected to serve about 50 million customers. With all support from stakeholders, there's a big opportunity to turn Indonesia into a Sharia financial hub. And BSI now operates over 1,000 branches and has network over 2,000 ATM. Please go to the next. So I think everyone still remember when the bank was established 1st February 2021, and the government as our biggest stakeholder expect us, BSI, into top 10 of Islamic bank globally in 2025. So that the merger process is just the beginning. The real journey will become then expected by government. BSI must be able to become an open, that inclusive bank for anyone. So if you maybe heard that the Sharia banks may be exclusive for the only certain people, but now we are expecting to be more open. And then also BSI must be able to maximize the technology and digital. I think it is the era for the digital. And then everyone's like expecting more digital services from Sharia bank, and be able to become a millennials and Gen Z choice So this is not for the old banks, for the old age bank, but also for the millennials can be the choice. And also we have to be expected to be to deliver the product even more competitive. Yeah. And then that's everything that coming, the expectation coming from the government and the stakeholder. I think that's we call it amanah that will be executed as soon as possible. For the next slide, please. So BSI digital transformation journey has actually been carried out by each legacy before the merger. So in this case, I will try to just take one sample that something happened with the Bank Syariah Mandiri, one of the legacy bank. So back to 2019, when the transformation of digital started. So what the first thing that we determined first when we started the digital transformation, we have to define what is the strategy or what the values of the Syariah banks. So we find that the value is about how we can combine the activity of or the journey of the Muslim regarding about the financial itself, social and spiritual. So there is no border in between how the financial activities and what the social activities and the spiritual. It should be blended, should be combined into the activities when they are engaged with our banks. So all the Sharia value starting from the spiritual, for example, like how we can help the customer to have the praying time schedule well, and then how can we help the customer, read the Quran. Everything should be on our services. And then the second about the social. So the Muslim is always related to the social activities, for example, like zakat, infaq, and wakaf. So the meaning is we have to create these services into one single platform. And also the financial activities, like transferring the money, a payment, everything, and then getting mortgage, a loan, and then also maybe can get the auto loan. So every activities should be into one single journey or experience. So all the value Sharia converted into customer experience into digital. So we provide the mobile banking that can have everything. The activities should be done at the mobile. So that's the thing we thinking that's the big point for us to have when we are doing the digital transformation. So all Sharia values must be fulfilled by Islamic bank. So from the young age into the adult and to the old age, every single step of the life should be covered by Sharia products. That's our vision to have the value activities into their customer life. So, and also the digital transformation is not about the technology, not only about the business process, but also about the mindset. This is the digital mindset should be applied to all employees. So everyone in Bank Syariah Indonesia has a digital mindset that can help them to be involved into the digital transformation, so can contribute. So they have to be like a more even agile. They can get you can solve the problem. So finding the problem and always solve the problem and never be comfort. I mean, like they need to think that their business is always not good. So they are always finding the innovation way to solve the problems. That's the digital mindset. And also, we clearly understand that digital transformation is not enough if we just doing by ourselves, but we need to integrate to the other parties. We need to have collaboration. We need to have more connectivity with the ecosystem. So that's why we also create the platform that can also invite all the parties, all the ecosystem, from the healthcare ecosystem, from the ZISWAF institutions like Zakat institution, Wakaf, and also from the travel. Yeah, as we know that Indonesia still the biggest country send the people to Hajj and Umrah. So halal is a very important to be involved into our digital transformation. So all these, yeah, getting the Sharia values and then translating into the digital platform, and then understanding what the journey of the customers, and then putting the digital mindset into our employee, and also involving the ecosystem is the keys for us to run the digital transformation. Okay, the next, please. Okay, so as I mentioned before, that's mobile application is very important to be the customer access to our services within digital platform. So we are now creating a number of customers who onboard to us using the mobile application. So we do have now a simple process to onboard. So the customer can just open the account using the mobile apps, download the application, and also they just do the selfie without any like interview or video call. Just take the picture, and then they have like an open account in within less than 5 minutes. And also we provide in the mobile banking to services in the social life, so they can share their financial to the other person or to the other community who needs help. And they can send by using the zakat, or they can use wakaf on other instrument of the social using the Islamic procedure, yeah, like akad. And also we also provide the gold saving. The gold saving is something that unique from the banking Sharia, that because not all the banks, especially a conventional bank, cannot do this, but the bank Sharia can also open the saving using the gram as the saving nominal, so the customer can invest the money within the gold. And then also we can also provide the service at customers to help them to even increase their spiritual life using our service, for example, like the schedule, reminder schedule for the praying time, and also the Qiblat direction. So everything's their daily life, the 24 daily life can be used, our platform, our mobile banking. So what we hope from the digital transformation, we can provide the services, the platform that can be used to help the customer doing the 24-day life and still keeping there as a good Muslim. Okay. Next slide, please. So the digital transformation also bring the numbers to us. You can see here the number of users starting in 2019 is only less than a million, and now it's almost about 2 million. So thanks also to the people who now like getting familiar with digital, and I think this is also about pandemic, yeah, that because we are now during the pandemic, everyone's getting familiar with digital. Everyone want to do everything using their mobile apps. So alhamdulillah, we can provide all the services using the mobile bankings. We cannot imagine if this we didn't prepare this well before the pandemic, and then the customer cannot do the banking with us. But alhamdulillah, then now a customer can onboard to us using the mobile banking and can do everything about the transaction using our mobile banking. So not only the number of users, but number of transactions also increase. Yeah, that because also maybe again pandemic. Of course, this is something like not good for our life, but at least we can get the positive thing from the pandemic, meaning that more people can use the transaction using the digital or the mobile banking. So number of transactions also increase year on year. We can achieve more than 70% of the transaction increase. Then also Ziswaf, Zakat, Infak, dan Wakaf also increased from the 2020 year on year. Is only about 30%, but now even more than 30%. So more people do sharing their financial to the other community or people that need help. Yeah. And then also e-commerce. Yeah, this is something that also interesting. E-commerce payment using the mobile banking is also increased. We know that the number of transaction e-commerce from the big e-commerce platform also increased significantly, but also our payment system also following what the increase in the e-commerce. So it's almost about like more than 500% during the pandemic. So this is something that we have to thank also the pandemic. But again, the pandemic, we agree, pandemic is not something that we not going to have it. But again, we think we should take the opportunity from the pandemic. Then Alhamdulillah, we can provide this and can help the customer still doing their activities, financial activities using our platform. Okay, next, please.
We have 1 minute left, Pak.
Okay, Pak. Okay, yes. So the number is not just a number, but we still need to think, but all the business is not okay. So basically the bank should manage their revenue and their expense. So friends from financial technology, from fintech payment, fintech e-commerce and e-wallets, they're doing the business and they possibility take our opportunity to take even more revenue. Also, the expense they have doing efficiency in the process. So their expense is very even if more efficient comparing to us. But again, the situation to think that our business is not okay is always should be applied to our employee. That's why we should find another way or another innovation way in the near future. Next, please. So now today, the banks, I think almost all the banks now should redefine what they have within their technology. There are 4 approach. We learn this, and we find this. There are 4 approach. One is some banks may continue their transformation until they're thinking that this is the maximal of their doing the transformation. But the other bank thinking about the spin-off, create a new entity, a different entity from their parent banks. So we can see like maybe BCA, BRI, they have opportunity to create another entity. Another bank can do like a reborn. So they have a traditional bank at the first time, and then they're changing everything, and then they change the business process, everything to be the digital bank. Yeah, we see some numbers like Bank Jago, Aladdin, and other else. So they choose the number 3, the reborn. The 4th choice is the pavilion bank. So the entity is still the same, but they're creating a mini bank within the bank. So all this choice can be taken by the banks following what they have or their readiness. So they need to understand what their strategy, they need to understand what the readiness of the digital technology, they need to understand what the organizational structure should be prepared, they need to understand what the risk management and then the support from the regulator, and also they need to understand what the target segments and then the product that they need to be delivered, and then also they have to have culture digital in them. So this is not the only one can be selected, but bank can be selected even more than one. But this is very important for us, actually, for our BSI to now in this situation to define again what our strategy and to select one of this approach. That's all that I can share today. Sorry about the time, and then again, let us discuss and then learn more today. Thank you, everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak Riko. So, digital transformation is not always about the tech. It's also about the mindset. One of them is about having the human aspect in the field to follow the transformation process, having the connectivity with the ecosystem, and of course, prioritizing customers' needs while undergoing the Sharia values. Thank you very much, Pak Riko. And now we come to the Q&A sessions. We already received some questions from the participants, and allow me to read one of the question, which is directed to Pak Darmadi from BTPN. So this is from Kevin Iskandar Putra, who asks, are there any regulatory challenges to support the growth of the bank digitally? And what sort of changes do you wish to see from the upcoming POJK on commercial banks and digital banking regime generally, if any? So, Pak Darmadi?
Yeah. I think I just a bit talk about it at the end of my presentation. And this is also referring to Pak Anung's presentation, which is, I think, very good. That moving forward, I think the licensing, the approval of new product, new feature, if it can be accelerated, will be good. And in the meantime, because banks, especially in the payment system, we are regulated by both Bank Indonesia and OJK. So certainly, if the new what we expect moving forward, the new licensing, the new product approval will be kind of like one-door policy. So when we propose it, and it will be one door. So basically immediately processed by both OJK and Bank Indonesia. That will be very much helpful for us to be able to introduce new product, new feature much faster. So, and I do believe that is in process. We've been in few discussion with regulators that this one-door policy is really being processed, and that's what I'm looking forward to in terms of challenges on regulations today. So hopefully we can be in a same battle playing field with fintech and other industries. So that's what we look forward to in the new regulation.
Okay, but speaking about fintech, so actually there's like one question from Sudiarto, right? We know about many super apps, right from Gojek, Grab, and Singapore-based Finance. So they are also entering the digital banking businesses. But how conventional banks anticipated the trend? Like, if I may add, what is the added values that the banks having that this fintech doesn't?
Actually, it's our traditional offerings. Yeah, we as bank, we have a complete banking transaction offerings. So, like for instance, I just also mentioned that one of the key differentiating changes from other digital bank now is the foreign currency offering, for instance. Because offering a capability to transact other currencies and buy and sell other currencies, we need a support from a strong treasury department backups. Yeah, so I think conventional bank would traditionally or would naturally have already that capability. So I believe certainly for if you're moving forward, digital bank would like to be really a total banking transaction offerings. This is something that a digital bank needs to build, and I think that will also need time. Of course, savings accounts will be the basic account that everybody will easily offer, and loan will also another one that is going to be, I can say, easily being offered. Yeah, and then perhaps in terms of steep speed, acceleration of penetration to the markets, with the Koto Bang Jago collaboration, of course, they have a very big advantages, over traditional bank like we are. But hopefully, we still can provide some other things that Koto or Neobank or the one that as Shopee Bank, Sea Bank, can offer. They need time to build all the infrastructure behind. If they would need to go to the full-fledged of banking transactions, which I think they have to. Yeah, they have to, because if they call themselves as a digital bank.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Darmadi. Now I will moving forward to Ibu Tri. So Ibu Tri Hindriasari, here's the paradox. While it is true that the digital transformation is a must to succeed in a digital world, many banking digital transformation attempts end up in failure. According to 2020 studies, global studies, 70% of complex, large-scale change programs doesn't reach their stated goals. So why do you think it happens? What are the mistakes here? What makes the attempts fail?
Okay, so I think when we talk about digital banking, it is not one-time effort. Digital banking is a journey, because and we need to always understand what our customer wants. Because when we have digital banking transformation, for example, right, in the end, it is customer that will get the benefit of it. So number one, what we need to do is really to understand our customer, what they want, what they need, what they are comfortable with. So in our methodology, the one that we share, right, understanding our customer persona is a must, so that you are not offering or creating something that is mismatched with what they want. Okay. Then secondly, of course, when we talk about digital banking, for example, like what Genius did, right? When Pak Darmadi mentioned about the journey that Genius has from year 2, year 3, right? That show on how digital banking as a product, they will evolve over time, right? So we will have journey, it will evolve. So we need to understand first, once we launch a product, now we call it as MVP, right? Usually the function in a digital product, it is being launched in MVP1, they have MVP1, MVP2, with certain focus on the pinpoint that customer have. So we need to launch that as soon as possible at a speed, so that we can get a customer feedback as soon as possible as well. From there, then we can have more and more product to be added as part of the journey to have the digital product to grow.
All right, thank you very much, Ibu Tri. Now, if I may add one question again, we know that the digitalization process is a step in the right direction, but also can step into the unknown for many, right? I still remember about the 2008 IT fiasco that pushed the SB Bank in London and many banks around the world to lose thousands of customers and $1 billion loss. So in your experience, what are the things that needs to be prepared to avoid this risk?
So I think now when we talk about digital banking, right? One thing that everyone should know, the first one is the risk involved in that digital banking. The first one, of course, is security part of it. Now people talk about cyber security, fraud that is involved in this one. So every time we launch something, we launch a product, we need to also see what is the risk of this product to get hit by crime. Yeah, be it is in digital, be it is non-digital, that one should be something that we need to see as a package.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Tri. Now, I'm moving forward to Pak Ray. Pak Ray, there's a question from one of the attendants saying that it hasn't always been perfect, but I wonder how can a customer taking part, in advancing AI tech, like for example, how the customer will help to enhance the AI capability.
Right. Thanks for the question. I think I feel the same way as well, that chatbot that we have now are still quite far from perfect. It's mostly in the low complexity and also starting to get better, but still needs some improvements. Yeah. So if you remember from my presentation, the fifth key element of AI adoption is an open culture that embrace a test and learn approach. So adopting AI is in an enterprise is not like buying a piece of hardware. It's not like buying a piece of a server. It requires continuous learnings. It also requires agile iterations. So in order to succeed, I think bank and tech vendors like us should work hand in hand to sharpen the business use case. For example, by conducting more user research where the customers can also share their opinion on how to make the experience better and also to fine tune what works. Another thing that might be done is to have a public natural language training. But again, this could backfire because if the users or customers are training the bot something that is not aligned with the SOP, for example, then the bot will basically say anything they want. Maybe they see something, they say something that is quite out of the context. So that's why one of the way the consumers can help the banks to enhance the experience is to conduct more user research. So we can have a depth of what are the next iteration for the chatbot, because we really need to be agile and continuous.
All right, Pak Rey. Now, as a customer myself, I have this concern that I believe that many people will share the same concern about, interacting with AI and using chat and using bot. And do you think that how are you going to ensure me that it will be very safe for my personal data, and how are you going to ensure your customers about it?
Right. So regarding the data security, it always comes from two sides, right? From our side as the conversational AI platform and from the banks as well. So we comply to the rules of OJK for banking. For every sensitive customer data, we also provided the on-premise solution where the data is stored inside the bank's premises. So it's not going to flew around in the cloud, for example. But I think cloud computing has become more and more safe these days. So, like for example, banks should have like a verified account, for example, to show that this is really official from the banks. If it's coming from SMS, we really don't know, right? Because from SMS, it's just like the name and also a text. But if it's coming from WhatsApp, if it's coming from Instagram, we know the legitimate of the profile. Is it really managed by the bank officially, or it isn't? Maybe saying from the followers or saying from the green badges or the blue badges after the names.
All right. Thank you very much, Pak Rey. Now I'm moving forward to Pak Riko. There's one question from Rizal. He asks in Bahasa, but I would like to translate it to Indonesia. How is BSI will confirm the data that is being input in the process of account opening, in using the biometric? I'm not sure if I'm translating all right, but do you think that BSI is having like the partnership with Kemendagri, with the Home Ministry, regarding the ID card of the account holder?
Yes, of course, we do have agreement with the Kemendagri to kind of like validate the data, the customer data to be checked with the Kemendagri. And now they're offering the check using the face recognition, one of their features using the biometric face recognition. So we avoid the customer video call now. So now only like a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes after they enter the data and everything's done. Before we have to like customer will have to like make a video call and it's like 5 minutes, and then more data will be used from customer side. But using the biometrics, everything's like very seamless. And then now even more, almost like double of onboard account is doing now. Okay.
Okay, but Riko, with
Yes.
all news surrounding about customers who lost their money and with everything that happens, and especially because Bank Syariah just recently having this merger,
Mhm.
how do BSE itself overcome this challenge, and how you're going to ensuring your customers that hey, BSE is having a very solid technology that we're not going to lose your data and not going to steal your money.
Yes, I think all the bank must be like make sure everything must because we are doing our trust is everything for the banks. So we have to make sure everything about the data, the technology can be used by customer. Availability, reliability, and everything should be like 100% on it. We cannot like just let the system is down like almost like a 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's gonna be working with the banks. So that's very important. So again, the customer now, the demand of the technology, the demand of the digital services, it is very important. We cannot imagine back to like before the pandemic, if it didn't prepare well about the digital, I don't think we can have the numbers now. But again, we have to think also about the pandemic. We can push even more, speed up our technology or digital transformation. And now the customer should be ready and us be ready. But again, we cannot think this is good. We cannot think our business is okay. It's always finding what the business is always not okay. We have to find a problem and then solve the problem. That's the digital mindset. Then we have to have it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pak Riko. Now, I have one final question, which I think I would like to direct it to all speakers here. The questions about digital transformation is not everybody ready for digital transformations. Talking about the inclusivity, how to ensure that bank's digital product will be very inclusive, especially to those who's not really tech savvy or maybe living in a rural area. How do you think about those inclusivity issues? Maybe I would like to give the platform to Pak Darmadi first.
Actually, in BTPN, we have two products that we call it digital products. One is Genius, especially Genius is more for smartphone based client, and one is Wow Business. Wow Business is for the financial inclusion and a bit higher than the financial inclusion business, which we now also start providing application, but of course much simpler. Because the usage of smartphone is still less in that if you're talking about rural location, and if they do have smartphone, usually it's also a very modest smartphone with the capacity that is, and the capacity and speed of memory that is very, very limited. So we need to come up with more simpler apps with less memory, something like that. So we will introduce soon. Actually, we just got approvals from the OJK and BI on the Wow apps. So today we have around 4 million clients already on this Wow apps, Wow clients. So we would like to convert it into more apps-based transaction. Mainly now it's still USSD featured phone transactions. For Genius, Genius initially is positioned for millennials who is digital savvy, but in the past 2 years, we've been able to introduce it for our Sinaya priority clients. So now almost 90-95% of our priority and wealth management clients using Genius also. And this is what we call it senior millennials. This is people with 40 plus up to 60 plus clients. And we during pandemic, I think it's kind of blessing in disguise, because we can have more time with clients over the phone, educate them how to subscribe, to onboard, and then educate them also to our RMs how to use it. And surprisingly, these millennials are very much interested with this digital. I can say only 5% of our millennial clients still don't want to have Genius, but 95% now subscribes and are very happy. Consequently, also their portfolio is also moving up. So I think that's what we do in BTPN. If you're talking about how to make everybody digital. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Pak Darmadi. And Ibu Tri, would you like to add some comments on the inclusivity issues?
Yeah, so I think what we can see right now is also every developer. So when we have a project on a mobile banking development, for example, right? So indeed, the size of the app itself is something that we have a target on. So we know that this application will be used by this segment. Then accordingly, we need to have the size of the app, these apps to be like this light. So depending on the target or of the user of this product, then usually we try to have it as light as possible to align with the infrastructure.
All right, thank you very much, Ibu Tri. And then Pak Ray, same question, Pak.
Right. I think here's the thing. It's not always an app, right, for digital transformation. That's why we also want to enable WhatsApp banking, that it's more inclusive for everyone who doesn't, have a smartphone that can able to download a lot of stuff inside, right? Most people in Indonesia maybe have a smartphone only for like a small storage of data storage. So they cannot really download a lot of apps inside their phone. And one more thing about inclusivity, like for example, in our clients, BRI, they currently have the Brilling agent, and how a chatbot technology can chime into increasing the agent productivity. It's in the pipeline. So definitely, inclusivity is one of the issues that we want to tackle with digitalization. So it doesn't have to be like all app and it's all technology and stuff, but we can also put it in the simple way as well, like moving from SMS banking to WhatsApp banking, for example.
Yeah, true. Thank you very much, Pak Ray. And then last but not least, Pak Riko, what about the Bank BSI about the inclusivity issues?
Yes, I think yes. For the bank, we need to have even more customer, right? So we have unbankable market is very big. So still there's opportunity, but again, issue of the technology, issue of the readiness of the digital. That's our I think our job, yeah, to make sure the customers, people can understand this. And also thank you to the colleagues from the telco providers. Now almost like coverage in Indonesia already coverage the data provider, yeah. So I think there's no big issue in the near future. Everyone can have a digital platform soon.
Thank you very much to Pak Riko and also to all speakers. I'm afraid that we are reaching the end of this webinar. Thank you very much for the also for the participants. Thank you for joining us. And this is a very delightful discussions we had today in the Jakpost 31st Up Close webinar. I apologize if we might fail to deliver all of your questions to the panelists given the limited time we had, but I sincerely wish that it has brought us more knowledge and awareness, especially on the digital bank issues in Indonesia. Stay tuned to our website, thejakartapost.com, or our social media, the Jakarta Post on Facebook, at Jakpost on Twitter, and at Jakpost Images on Instagram to get the latest update about the next webinar episodes and many more. So once again, I thank you very much to all speakers, Pak Darmadi, Ibu Tri, Pak Ray, dan Pak Riko. Thank you very much for joining us today, and stay well, stay healthy, and see you on the next webinar. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Riko, Pak Darmadi.
Thank you semuanya.
Okay, bye-bye guys.